amazing?
Yeah.
10 out of 8. Love God. Tasted like peanuts. 10 out of 10. Dates.
10 out of 8.
10 out of 8. Peanuts and dates. What up? What up? It's Garage GYMHOMIE, and today I'm talking about how to deal with negative things that happen, man, like anger and fear and stuff like that. Is it worth it? Before we get into this here, please click the subscribe button. I got content coming out all the dang time for you, man. So click subscribe and let's get into this, man. God is amazing. So are you. I hope you're feeling good. Living from the heart, man, staying out of your head. I haven't made like a real spiritual video in a while, man. I know, man. I know it's my least popular kind of videos, you know, especially in this community with all you pre-workout connoisseurs, man. And unfortunately, I have a purpose to fulfill, man. And the number one purpose is being a light to the world, man, being helpful to people. And I could just give you the cheat codes, man. So, you know, my sponsor used to say, it's not what happens when you get the new car. It's what happens when it gets repossessed. You know, it's not how you act when you get the new car. It's how you act when it gets repossessed. I always remembered that, man, because sometimes life happens, man, throws a dang wrench at you. And, hey, man, that's part of the journey. And that's supposed to happen. And it's real easy to talk about believing in God 364 days out of the year. But on that one day, man, where the unexpected happened, do you trust in God? It's easy to believe in God every day. That doesn't mean you trust in God. I believe in God in the deepest place in my heart. But do I trust in God? That's what's important. And I do, man. I trust in God in a real deep place, man. Somebody asked me, like, if I open up for questions on Instagram sometime. They're like, hey, man, if you lost all that muscle, do you think you'd be able to stay sober? Of course I would. I didn't get sober with muscle. And if I have to lose muscle, if something happened to me, I know in the deepest place in my heart it's because it's my time. Maybe I have to come off testosterone and I might lose some mass. I don't know how that'll look. Maybe I'll get an injury and God forbid, knock on wood, and I can't lift weights. Horrible things happen in life, man, and I know that God's going to carry me through. Like he has everything else, man. I know when it's my time to move on to the next chapter, it's my time, man, and I'm okay with that. I know that. Are you okay if you lose your muscle, man? But anyway, man, there's more to this, so things happen, people file for divorce, unfortunately, like how am I going to act as a recovered addict and alcoholic? I have to be on guard for the unguarded moment, man. I'm not a normal person. My head is crazy. I can't just not be on guard and then things happen and I'm full of resentment and fear and craziness up here and I don't have the tools to deal with those things. So I'm either growing spiritually or I'm dying and I'm going back to heroin. There's no real middle of the road for me, man. There's no real standing still. I'm either growing and getting closer to God or I'm getting further from God. And if I get further from God, I don't think I'm going to be a recovered alcoholic for long, man. I can't stay sober like that. So things are going to come up. And this is what I'm going to say, man. When I went through the 12 steps and I identified that my life was driven by fear. Fear drove me. I thought I was so hard, too hard for the yard, and I made all my decisions because I had no fear. I was tough. I was freaking, I had no fear. I ran away from Michigan. I had warrants for my arrest. I lived on freaking the streets of California. I went to the penitentiary. I've been, you know, in LA County Jail. I've been in jail in El Paso. I've been in jail in Oakland County, Michigan, Livingston County, Michigan. I'm so hard. I've been all over. That's not true, man. My life was driven by fear. I ran from Michigan because I was scared. I went to prison because I was scared. All my decisions involved something fear-based. And so I'm not too big of a man. I mean, I admit that because I'm a real man today. I know that. I can admit that and I still deal with fear. It still comes up in my head. There's a point here. So I went through these 12 steps and I had to realize that my life was driven by fear and anger. And what I found out was that behind anger is fear. When somebody pisses me off, I'm at work or I'm pissed off about something. My girlfriend pissed me off, my fiance now. Excuse me, Stephanie. My fiance, my beautiful fiance. The kids there's something I'm terrified of, and it's coming out in anger. Anger alone it's not anger, it's fear. It's coming out in anger. There's something I'm scared of, you know, and that's important to know. And maybe you can now look at that when next time you're angry, and you'll remember GGH's voice. Not the best voice, homie. Not, you know, I'm not up here on Broadway, man. I got a little YouTube channel. It's not the best voice, but it's a voice you'll hear, and you'll say, man, I'm freaking pissed off. What am I scared of? You know, let's say you have a girlfriend, God forbid, and she you know, you think she's cheating on you. You saw her texting some dude. Yeah, you're angry, you're pissed off, but you're really scared, man. And that's like the most simplistic way to, you know, spell it out for you. There's always fear behind anger, without exception. And the other thing is dishonesty. Next time you want to lie, next time I want to lie, those things happen. We got to take it to the next step and say, what am I scared of? There's no reason to be angry unless I'm in fear. And there's no reason to be dishonest unless I'm in fear. And I had to go through this whole spiritual journey of the 12 steps and everything like that in order for me to realize that, you know. So it's really deep. But that's not the point of this video. So identifying that's important. Then, through the steps again, I asked God, please remove all my defects of character that stand in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. I never went to God and asked him to remove all my defects of character, the fear, the resentment, the selfishness, the dishonesty. I didn't ask God to remove all those things. I only asked God to remove the things that stand in the way of me being useful to him and the people around me. What does that mean? That means to this day, things still come up, man. My head still gets crazy. I still have fear. I'm still dishonest, or I want to be. I'm about to be. I should catch myself, and maybe I am dishonest sometimes. I'm going to talk about that. I'm still get angry. I get pissed off. I act in ways I don't want to act. And I can still be selfish, all about me, me, me. That doesn't mean those things aren't supposed to be there. God left those things there for a reason, so I can grow from them, so I can be of use to you and God, the people around me. But if I don't address those things and grow spiritually, then I'm not putting them to use. And that's not sticking to the contract I made with God. Okay, so if I just have fear, you know, let's say somebody comes in, you know, and whatever, something happens, and I'm pissed off, and now I'm scared, and this and that, and I just sit with it in my head and I don't address it, I'm not going to grow from it. So this is how you address it. Number one, I pray about it. That's always God first. God, please remove my fear. Please remove my resentment, whatever it is that I'm dealing with, whatever defect. I got to go to God immediately. That doesn't mean wait a week and sit in your head and then pray about it after you've tortured yourself for a week and you've lived in fear. Right away, at once, God, please remove my fear. And I say it over and over and over. I pray from here, not from here. This is where the craziness is. I have to pray from here, feel the words that I'm saying. Then I talk about it with someone immediately. I call maybe my sponsor, maybe a best friend, maybe I talk to my fiance, whatever it is. I talk about it with someone so I get away from, being by myself in my head. I prayed, God first, human second. I make amends quickly if I've harmed somebody. I always have to have my side of the street cleaned. Always. If I cussed you out because I was angry and I prayed about it and I talked about it with someone, it doesn't stop there. I then have to go make amends for how I harmed you. I can't just stop. Oh, I prayed, I talked to someone, I'm good now. No. We got to take action and clean our side of the street. Doesn't always require amends. Sometimes we're just in fear. That just because we're in fear doesn't mean we owe someone an amends. But if we do, we better make it, because we cannot afford to have our side of the street dirty. I want to live with a clean slate always, especially when going to bed, or my soul's not going to rest. Then we turn our thoughts toward people we can help. That doesn't mean go out and run. That doesn't mean go out, run, and help someone. That means turn your thoughts towards someone you can help. Get away from here. Think about others. I've thought about myself too much. And I fall short of this all the time, man. I fall short of this all the time. Meaning, I'm going to tell you what I mean. I get angry. I get in fear. And sometimes I just sit with it. And I don't pray to God right away. Or maybe I pray to God right away and I don't talk with someone. I don't go to the next step. So the fear's still kind of there. I'm not growing from it yet. I got to talk about it. It's scary to go to people and make amends. It's humbling. But God walks us hand in hand with it. He gives us the power if we pray about it. So life happens, man. Negative things are going to happen in our lives. We might get fired. We might be broke. Hopefully not. Hopefully if we're staying close to God and fulfilling our purpose, then we're cared for financially. But I'm not God, man. I can't foresee every circumstance that might pop up unexpectedly that's supposed to happen. We have to be as prepared as possible. It's like the world is like going in battle, and I got to have my body armor on. I got to be armed up. So if, God forbid, Stephanie walked in the house and handed me divorce papers one day, not that she would, I'm kidding, but I'm not going to go back to shooting heroin. I have the tools. I'm prepared to deal with that fear or that anger or whatever I did dishonestly to get her to serve me those papers. We always got to look at our part. Always. Our problems are of our own making. And there's the only way to get through the things that life throws at us is, number one, I have to accept that God is in control, number one, and number two, that my problems are of my own making. When I've accepted that nothing happens in this world unless God allows it to happen, I'm comforted. Because I know that anything that happens is because God allowed that to happen, and I know I'm not in control. Then I have to realize that my problems, the things that happen in my life, negative, I'm not the victim. My problems are of my making. Then I could deal with them. I pray for that fear and anger to be removed. I can look within myself. What did I do wrong? Not everything is everybody else's fault. Me, my inventory. I'm the one who got the ball rolling for the stuff that happened in my life. I have to accept that. It's the only way to grow. Because what anger does is it blocks us from God. It blocks us from God because God's in here. God's in my heart. And when I'm angry, I'm looking out at you and what you've done to me, how you've done me wrong. The fear, the anger. I'm selfish. And I'm not looking within here where God is at what I did wrong. I'm prepared for what life throws at me. At least I think I am. I hope I am. And I have a lot of growing to do. But I know, man, that God is in control. I know that, and the miracle has happened. Me being sober, it's a miracle. And I hope you guys are fired up, man, because I want to grow alongside you. I want us to grow together, man. I say together, let's get this dang muscle. That's a spiritual statement. Spiritual muscle, physical muscle, it all goes together. I'm fired up, man. Let's grow together. Let's do better. Let's not lie. There are no little lies. I'm not sneaking bootleg movies anymore. I'm not getting away with little corner cutting that I didn't do, that I didn't pay for, I didn't do, or isn't right. When no one's looking, how do you act? I know God's with me at all times, man. There are no little sneaky things anymore, man. Let's tighten up, man. Let's grow together, and let's have our body armor. So now you know the process. When life throws something at you, it's scary. It's scary, but you can handle it with prayer, with talking about it with someone, making amends, and thinking about others we can help. All my problems seem to work themselves out if I'm doing that, if I'm staying close to God, and I'm growing, and I'm praying, and I'm living from here and staying out of here. God bless all you, man. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think in the comments. And together, let's get this dang muscle.